If your blood pressure has been creeping up, you already know the first two things they tell you. Cut the salt, take the pill, and you have. You bought the little cuff for the kitchen drawer, you check it in the morning, and the number is still higher than you want it to be. What almost no one sits you down and explains is this. Your blood pressure moves all day long. It rises and it falls. And the most important move it makes happens at night, while you are asleep, and not thinking about it at all. In a healthy body, your pressure is supposed to fall while you sleep. It drops by about 10 to 20% in the small hours. Doctors call that the nighttime dip, and that dip is when your heart and your arteries finally get to rest. If your pressure never comes down at night, if it stays high straight through until morning, you are what we call a non-dipper. And non-dippers have far more strokes and heart attacks than people whose numbers fall the way they should, even when the daytime reading looks the same. And this is where your dinner comes in. What you eat in the evening, in the last hour or two before bed, has a real say in whether that dip happens or not. The right food helps your vessels open and your pressure fall. The wrong evening habit holds it up all night long. And before you click away because you think this is going to be eat a banana, cut the salt, give me the next few minutes, I am not talking about the tired advice you have already heard 100 times. Salt matters. It genuinely does. But I am going to give you a short list of evening foods, most of them ones people never connect to blood pressure at all, that gently help your pressure come down while you sleep. 2 of them have some of the strongest numbers in the research on any food from any category. And at the end I will give you a simple bedtime tonic you can make in 5 minutes and a handful of evening habits that protect that dip. Before I get into the foods, one quick thing, because this is the whole reason I make these videos. After 30 years of watching good people get 8 rushed minutes with a doctor and no real explanation, I took everything I tell my own patients and put it into one simple plan, a clear step-by-step guide to living longer, stronger, and healthier after 60. It has already helped thousands of people take back control of their health. The link is on your screen right now, and it is the first thing in the description. Go and grab it after the video. Now let me tell you why I am so sure the evening matters, and then we will get straight into the list. When you eat controls more than most people realize, your kidneys, your hormones, and the lining of your blood vessels all run on a daily clock. In the evening, your body is getting ready to lower your pressure for the night. If you feed it the raw materials it needs in that window, potassium, natural nitrate, magnesium, certain plant compounds, you are helping a process that is already trying to happen. If instead you hand it a salty late dinner and a glass of wine, you are jamming the brake. So, this is the rule I want you to judge every food against tonight. A food earns a place at your evening table if it helps your pressure fall while you sleep. It does that one of a few ways. It gives your kidneys the potassium they need to let go of sodium overnight. It supplies the nitrate your vessels turn into a relaxing gas, so the pipes widen. Or, it calms your nervous system with magnesium and helps you sleep, because deep sleep and the nighttime dip go together. Every food on this list does at least one of those. The best ones do all 3. And let me tell you why I care so much about the night specifically. Because this is the part that keeps me up. Doctors have known since the 1980s that heart attacks and strokes do not strike evenly around the clock. They cluster in the early morning hours, roughly from the time you wake until midday. When you get up, your pressure surges to get you moving. That is normal. But if you are a non-dipper, that morning surge starts from a number that was already too high all night long. Your heart and your arteries never got their rest, and then they get hit with the surge on top of it. That is the window where the damage tends to happen. So when I talk about bringing your pressure down at night, understand what that really means. It means lowering the risk in the exact hours when a stroke is most likely to find you, and doing it from your own kitchen table. And I want you to keep one person in mind while I go through this. I will call her Diane. 66 years old, retired school teacher, one of the most conscientious patients I have ever had. Her father had a stroke in his early 70s, and she had spent a good part of the last few years lying awake at 4 in the morning doing the math on her own body. She cut her salt. She took her medication every single day. She walked her neighborhood every morning. Her daytime numbers looked fine, but her doctor sent her home with a monitor that reads your pressure every half hour for a full day and night. And what it showed was this. Diane's pressure never came down. All night long it stayed up near her daytime level. She was a non-dipper, and that is exactly the pattern that carries the highest risk. She sat in my office and said the thing I hear so often. I did everything they told me. Why is it still climbing while I sleep? Hold on to Diane. I will tell you what changed for her near the end, because her nights are the reason this whole list exists. Let's get into it. The first food surprises almost everyone, and it is a good one to start with because it works on two fronts at once. Kiwi, 2 small green kiwis about an hour before bed. Here is why. Kiwi fruit is loaded with potassium, the mineral that signals your kidneys to release sodium instead of hoarding it, and it is rich in plant antioxidants that help the inner lining of your vessels stay flexible. That inner lining, the endothelium, that is the living wall of the artery that decides whether the pipe relaxes or stays tight. But kiwi has a second trick. Researchers in Taiwan found that people who ate kiwi before bed fell asleep faster and slept longer and more soundly. And that matters here more than it sounds, because sleep is when the dip happens. Poor broken sleep is one of the quiet reasons a person's pressure never comes down at night. So kiwi helps the mechanism, and helps the sleep the mechanism needs. Norwegian researchers comparing kiwi against apples measured a real drop in the top number in people who ate about 3 a day. So 2 kiwis in the evening. Scoop them with a spoon. That is your first easy win. Number 2 is the nut most people reach for at the wrong time of day, and for the wrong reason. Pistachios. We snack on them in the afternoon out of a bag, usually salted, which is a shame because unsalted pistachios in the evening are close to a perfect blood pressure food. They carry potassium and magnesium together, and they are one of the better food sources of an amino acid called l'arginine, which your body uses to make nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a gas your own vessel walls produce that tells the artery to relax and open wider. More of it at night means a lower pressure while you sleep. Penn State ran a study where they had people snack on pistachios, and they found something striking. Not only did resting blood pressure come down, but when they put those people under stress, their vessels did not clamp down as hard. The pistachio group's pressure simply reacted less. That is the vascular system staying calmer, which is exactly what you want heading into the night. A small handful of unsalted pistachios in the evening. Keep it to a handful because the calories do add up. The third one is the closest thing to a natural blood pressure medicine that grows in the ground. Beets. Beets are the richest common source of dietary nitrate, the natural nitrate your body converts into that same relaxing gas, nitric oxide. Eat beets or drink beet juice in the evening, and you flood your system with the raw material for opening your vessels right when your body is trying to bring the pressure down. This is not a small effect. Researchers at Queen Mary University of London had people drink 1 cup of beet juice a day, and the top number fell by around 8 points, with the effect lasting for hours straight into the night. 8 points from a vegetable is in the range you would hope for from a starting dose of some medications. And unlike a pill, you can time it. Have your beets with dinner, and that vessel opening effect is peaking during the exact hours your body is trying to dip. Roast a few beets to keep in the fridge, and have them with dinner, or drink a small glass of beet juice in the evening. Fair warning, and I tell every patient this so they do not panic. Beets can turn your urine a little pink or red for a day. That is completely harmless. It is just the pigment. Number 4 belongs right next to the beets for the same reason. Dark leafy greens. Spinach, arugula, Swiss chard. These greens are the other great source of that natural nitrate. And they stack 3 things your evening needs into one side dish. Nitrate for the nitric oxide, potassium to pull the sodium out, and magnesium, which relaxes the muscle in the vessel wall directly. A large review of the research found that people who ate the most nitrate-rich vegetables had meaningfully lower blood pressure and fewer heart problems over time. Now the practical part, because I know raw salad at night is not appealing to everyone. A handful of spinach wilts down to almost nothing in a hot pan in 2 minutes. Cook a big handful of greens as your dinner side. That one habit covers 3 of the 4 jobs on our list in a single plate. The 5th food is the one that changed how I think about the evening entirely because it works through a hormone. Tart cherries. Montmorency tart cherries or pure tart cherry juice. Tart cherries are one of the few natural food sources of melatonin, the hormone your brain releases at night to tell your body it is time to sleep. And this next part connects straight to our whole story. In a study published in the journal Hypertension, melatonin given at night lowered nighttime blood pressure and helped restore the dip in people who had lost it, the very pattern Diane was stuck in. On top of the melatonin, tart cherries are packed with deep red plant pigments that help the vessels relax. Northumbria University tested Montmorency tart cherry and measured a drop in the top number within hours of drinking it. So you get the melatonin to deepen the sleep and cue the dip, and the pigments to open the vessels from the same small glass. A little glass of pure unsweetened tart cherry juice about an hour before bed. Buy the tart kind, not the sweetened cherry drink, sitting next to it on the shelf. Quick pause and then straight into the food with the biggest numbers of the whole list. If this is the kind of explanation you wish you got in the doctor's office, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Give this video a like and leave a comment telling me your age and one food from this list you are going to try tonight. I read them, and honestly knowing the age of the people watching shapes which topics I cover next. So the food with the strongest research of anything I am going to show you. Actually, let me set that one up with number 6 first because they work beautifully together. Pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds pepitas are one of the most concentrated food sources of magnesium you can eat, and magnesium is the mineral I wish more people over 60 paid attention to because it does 2 jobs at once for your pressure at night. It relaxes the smooth muscle wrapped around your arteries, which lets them widen, and it settles the nervous system, which helps you fall and stay asleep. A large review in the journal Hypertension found that people who raised their magnesium brought their blood pressure down, with the biggest benefit in the people who were short on it to begin with, and a lot of people over 60 quietly are. A couple of spoonfuls of pumpkin seeds in the evening or sprinkled over that plate of greens. Magnesium and nitrate on the same fork. Now the one I promised. If I could get every patient with creeping blood pressure to add a single food to their evening, it might be this one. Ground flaxseed. I want to be careful and honest with the number here because it is a big one and it deserves the context. In a study published in Hypertension in 2013, researchers gave people ground flaxseed every day for 6 months. The blood pressure drop they measured was in the range of 10 points on the top number and around 7 on the bottom. That is one of the largest reductions from a single food ever recorded in a proper trial. Flax does it from several directions at once. A plant omega-3 fat, special fibers called lignans, and that same arginine your body turns into nitric oxide. One rule that makes or breaks it. It has to be ground. Whole flax seeds pass straight through you, and you get almost nothing, because that tough little shell never breaks down. Buy it ground, or grind it yourself in a cheap coffee grinder, and keep it in the freezer so the oils stay fresh. 2 tablespoons of ground flax stirred into a bowl of yogurt or oats in the evening. It has no strong taste. It just thickens things slightly. That is the single highest value thing on this entire list, and it costs pennies a day. The 8th food is a drink, and it is the perfect one to end on, because it goes head to head with medication, and it has 0 caffeine, so it will not touch your sleep. Hibiscus tea. Hibiscus is that deep ruby red, slightly tart flower tea. Its plant compounds have a mild effect, a lot like a common class of blood pressure drugs, gently relaxing the vessels, and it acts as a light natural diuretic, nudging out extra sodium and water. Tufts University had people with slightly high pressure drink 3 cups of hibiscus tea a day, and their top number came down by several points compared to those who did not. Because it is caffeine-free, a warm cup of hibiscus in the last hour before bed is one of the easiest wins here. It replaces the salty snack or the nightcap with something that is actively lowering your pressure while you wind down. One more before the tonic, and this is the one people are happiest to hear because it is a treat. A small square of dark chocolate. I mean real dark chocolate, 70% cocoa or higher. The kind that snaps when you break it, not the sweet milk chocolate bars. The darker it is, the more it carries of a plant compound called flavonols, and flavonols do something specific and useful for us here. They tell the lining of your blood vessels to make more of that relaxing gas, nitric oxide, the very same pathway as the beets and the greens. The Cochrane Group, which pools the best trials on a question into one careful answer, looked at flavonol-rich cocoa across many studies and found a small but real drop in blood pressure. The key word is small in both senses. A small square, about the size of 2 of your fingers in the evening, not a whole bar, because the sugar and the calories in most chocolate will work against you if you overdo it. But 1 square of good dark chocolate after dinner, eaten slowly, is a genuine blood pressure food, and it gives you something sweet to end the day on without reaching for the salty or sugary snack that would undo everything else you just did. So consider that your permission. A square of dark chocolate has earned a place on this list. Now, as promised, let me hand you a way to stack a few of these into one simple drink. I call it the Bedtime Blood Pressure Tonic, and it takes 5 minutes. Brew a cup of hibiscus tea and let it cool to just warm. Stir in a splash about 2 tablespoons of pure unsweetened tart cherry juice, and if you have it, a small squeeze of pomegranate juice, which brings its own vessel relaxing compounds. That is it. What you have made is a caffeine-free evening drink that carries the vessel relaxing polyphenols of hibiscus and pomegranate and the sleep-cueing melatonin of tart cherry, all in one warm cup an hour before bed. On the side, a bowl of oats or yogurt with 2 tablespoons of ground flax stirred in, and you have covered the 2 strongest foods on this whole list in one small evening ritual. The foods do the lifting, but a few evening habits decide whether your body lets that dip happen at all. Let me give you the ones that matter most. First, watch the late salt. A salty dinner or a salty snack late in the evening is one of the best ways to keep your pressure up all night, because your kidneys spend the night holding water to deal with it. The amount of salt matters, and so does the balance between the salt and the potassium. All that potassium from the foods on this list works by helping your body shed the sodium. Do not undo it with a bag of chips at 9 o'clock. Second, and I say this gently because I know it is a hard one, skip the nightcap. Alcohol before bed is one of the best documented reasons a person's pressure fails to dip. It feels like it helps you unwind, and then it quietly holds your pressure and your heart rate up for the rest of the night. Even a few nights a week off the evening drink can change what your monitor shows. Third, get most of your fluid in earlier. I do not want you drinking a quart of beet juice at bedtime and then up 3 times to use the bathroom, because broken sleep works against the very dip we are chasing. Have the tonic and the juice in the early evening, and let the last hour be light. And fourth, if you take blood pressure medication, there is a real question worth raising with your doctor about timing. For some people, taking one of their pills in the evening rather than the morning helps cover the night. That is a conversation for your doctor, not something to change on your own. But it is worth asking because it is aimed at the exact same target, your pressure at night. Before I bring this home, one clear line, because I never want a video like this to be heard the wrong way. Everything I have described complements your care. It does not replace your medication, and it does not replace your doctor. If your pressure ever reads over 180 on top or 120 on the bottom, especially with chest pain, a bad headache, trouble seeing, or weakness on one side, that is a medical emergency. Call for help right now. Do not reach for a food, and no one should stop or change a prescribed medication based on a YouTube video, including this one. Bring this list to your doctor as a partner to what you are already doing. Now let me finish Diane's story because she is the reason I wanted to make this. Diane did not overhaul her life. She made a handful of evening changes, the same ones I just gave you. She put a side of cooked greens or a few roasted beets next to her dinner most nights. She traded her evening glass of wine for a warm cup of the hibiscus tonic. She started stirring ground flax into her morning and evening oats, and she moved her big glass of water to the early evening so she was not up all night. A few months later, her doctor put the monitor back on for another full day and night, and this time her pressure came down while she slept. Her nighttime average had dropped into a healthier range, and for the first time in years she was dipping again the way a body is supposed to. I want to be honest about what that means because I never want to oversell it. Diane still takes her medication. Her numbers are not perfect. It did not happen in a week, but the pattern that scared her doctor the most, the pressure that never rested, is gone. Her nights stopped working against her, and that is the whole point. Your blood pressure at night is one of the few levers in this that you actually hold in your own hand at your own kitchen table tonight. So what to do this evening? Quickly, start with the 2 heavy hitters. 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds stirred into yogurt or oats and a cup of hibiscus tea in the last hour before bed. Those 2 alone are the highest value change on this list. Add a side of dark leafy greens or a few roasted beets to your dinner for the nitrate that opens your vessels overnight. Have 2 kiwis or a small glass of pure tart cherry juice for the potassium and the melatonin that cue the dip. Keep a small handful of unsalted pistachios and a spoonful of pumpkin seeds in the evening rotation for the arginine and the magnesium. And if you want something sweet to finish on, a single square of dark chocolate earns its place too. You do not have to do all of it, Pick 2 or 3 of these and make them a habit this week. The whole point is that none of it is exotic and none of it asks you to wait for a prescription. This is the part of your blood pressure you get to work on yourself at your own table starting tonight. Then protect it. Cut the late salty snack. Skip the nightcap. Get your fluids in earlier so you sleep through. And if you are on medication, ask your doctor about taking a dose at night. None of this is exotic and none of it is expensive. It is a plate of greens, a spoon of seeds, and a warm red cup. Time for the hours when your body is already trying to bring your pressure down. If this helped you understand your own body a little better, subscribe, hit like, and leave me a comment with your age and the one food you are starting with tonight. Take care of yourself and I will see you